All right, let's dive right into this because today we are talking about something that is so fascinating, but also, can be really frustrating. It's this paradox, the idea that desperately needing something might be the very thing that's stopping you from getting it. I know, it sounds completely backward, but stick with me and you'll see exactly how this works.
I mean, we've all been there, right? It could be a new job, a relationship, or some big financial goal. You're doing everything you're supposed to do, you're putting in all the work, but it just feels like you're stuck on a treadmill. The harder you go, the more that goal just stays right there, just out of arm's reach.
Well, that experience, it actually has a name. People call it the manifestation paradox. And listen, this isn't just some vague, fluffy idea. There is a real emotional mechanic going on under the hood that explains why this happens. So let's break it down. So, what if that intense feeling of I need this wasn't the fuel driving you forward, but was actually a giant roadblock you put up yourself? That's the core idea we're exploring, that the emotional state of need is the very thing sitting between you and what you want. Okay, so to really unpack this, we first have to get super clear on the words we're using. We toss around want, desire, and need like they're the same thing, but in this context, the difference between desire and need, well, it's everything. It's absolutely crucial. So check this out. On one hand, you have desire. Desire is light. It's just a preference. It's focused on the pleasure of having something, and if it doesn't work out, it's no big deal. But need, oh man, that's a whole different animal. It's heavy. It's all about avoiding pain. It's rooted in this fear that if you don't get what you want, something bad is going to happen. And that's where all that discomfort and tension comes from. If you remember one thing, let it be this. Desire is like being pulled towards something pleasant. Need is like desperately pushing away from something painful. That one little shift in your emotional state changes absolutely everything. Okay, so we've got it. Need feels different. It feels bad. But how does that feeling actually turn into a physical obstacle? Let's dig into how that barrier actually gets built in the first place. The best way to think about it is to picture a need bubble. When you're in that state of need, it creates real physical tension in your body. You know what I'm talking about, that knot in your stomach, that tightness in your chest. That feeling isn't just in your head. It's a tangible energy that literally gets in the way, sitting there like a big bubble between you and your goal. And this is where we all get tripped up. Our gut instinct when we hit a wall is to just push harder, right? To fight through it, to use more willpower. But in this case, all of that effort just pumps more air into the need bubble. You're literally feeding the obstacle with the very energy you're using to try to get rid of it. There's this great quote that just hits the nail on the head. When you're coming from that place of need, working harder just makes the work harder. More effort doesn't get you better results. It just creates more tension. Brute force is not the answer here. So, if pushing harder is out, then what on earth are you supposed to do? Well, this brings us to the solution, which is just as counterintuitive as the problem, the power of releasing. Okay, this right here is the heart of the whole paradox. Just let that sink in for a second. That desperate energy, that intense need for things to be different, is the very glue holding your current situation in place. It's the anchor keeping you exactly where you are. Now, let's be super clear on this. Releasing the need does not, I repeat, does not mean giving up on your goal. You're not saying, forget it, I don't want this anymore. All you're doing is letting go of the painful, tense, heavy energy that's attached to it. You keep the desire, but you dissolve the obstacle. And as soon as that need bubble is gone or even just deflated a little bit, you've cleared the path. The door that was blocked before just swings right open, allowing the change you wanted to finally come through. So this all sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do it? I mean, how do you just release a feeling that can be so intense? Well, there's actually a really simple, practical technique we can walk through right now. The process is surprisingly simple, and it breaks down into these 4 steps: focus, allow, release, and replace. It's a nice, clean progression. You go from noticing the feeling all the way to actively choosing a new one. Let's look at a couple of the key parts a little more closely. Step 2 is all about allowing. So instead of fighting that physical feeling of need, that tension, you just welcome it. You gently ask yourself this question. You're not trying to force yourself to endure it forever, just for this one moment, as much as you're comfortable with. This step is what stops you from feeding that bubble with more resistance.
Then comes step 3, and this is the big pivot. After you've allowed the feeling to be there, you just check in with yourself. Am I willing to let this go? And here's the wild part. Your answer doesn't even really matter. It could be yes, no, or maybe. Just the act of asking the question starts to loosen the knot's grip on you.
And finally, step 4 is where you make a conscious choice. You can say these words to yourself out loud or in your head. You are actively deciding, okay, I'm letting go of this tension. And then you consciously choose to fill that space with a better feeling, something like peace or stillness. And you've got to remember, this is a practice. It's not a magic button. You might not feel a huge, dramatic shift the first time. The goal is to just chip away at that obstacle. Every single time you do this, you reduce that emotional charge just a little bit more, weakening the need bubble until eventually it just pops. So let's bring it all back home with this one last thought. It really is the ultimate paradox, isn't it? The key to creating the change you want is to let go of the desperate, painful need for it. By releasing that tension, you open the door and you allow the very outcome you desire to flow right into your life. And so that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. In your own life, right now, what's that one thing you've been chasing so hard? What door could you finally open, not by pushing harder, but just by letting go?